What's good, my familia? What do you hear? What do you say? It's your boy Jay Peasy, your favorite cannabis Cugine. Today, you're tuning into the Good Pizza Podcast. Welcome all of you to break some bread with us, enjoy some good pizza, smoke some good weed, and talk good pizza. Today, we have a special guest. To the left of me, he's a gentleman, a cannabis entrepreneur of sorts, professional dot connector, visionary investor, cannabis consultant. He has a very conscious awareness of his energy, thoughts, and direction of his movements. Overall, he's a stand-up guy, a guy that really helped me when I got to California and was trying to figure out my journey, put me in position to really get after it and make some good bread and do some really good business. And I'm just happy that he's here with us today and he can share his story. And it's gonna tie in this part of my story out here. And I'm happy to call him a friend and a brother, Mr. Chris Bondoc. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Oh, and owner, CEO, and co-founder of Higher Vibrations and Powerhouse Distro. Yes, sir. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you. How about yourself?
Doing good, man. Doing good, man. So, before we dive into the cannabis stuff, which was what the people came to see.
Sure.
The story behind the story, where it all happened. Tell us about the come up, man. Like, where you grew up, like what was it like being a kid, and like what kind of flow into the later parts of life. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, growing up, I think back then being a kid is way different than how things are now. I mean, we didn't have cell phones.
Yeah.
I mean, pagers were coming out when I was like 12 years old. So I spent a lot of my childhood outdoors trying to rollerblade, play basketball, making friends with like the other kids in the apartment complex and so forth. It was back then where things were a little bit safer, I guess you can say, where parents are like, just go outside and play, without having to worry about what's going to happen to your child.
Street lights was our curfew.
Exactly. So, it was very organic. I didn't have any cell phones or anything like that. So it allowed me to connect with a lot of people and then also just really connect within myself too. So
Nice, bro.
I grew up in Foster City, San Mateo, Peninsula in the Bay Area.
Nice.
I lived there for pretty much my entire, childhood all the way up until high school. Growing up there, I pretty much set my roots in the Bay Area. So everything that I learned was from not only my family, but the friends that surrounded me in the Bay Area as well. So a lot of my principles and ethics come from there, That's where I learned how to grind too.
Yeah,
hustle
that's right.
was in the Bay Area. Yep.
So would you be considered a Bay Area player?
Define Bay Area player.
No, I'm just saying, a cat from the Bay, you know what I'm saying? Just a cat from the Bay, getting shit done, getting after it, making moves, busting plays.
Yeah,
and shit,
I would say, I grew up, in the Bay as far as my childhood goes, but I've lived everywhere, and so my environment has helped shape who I am and then in turn help me shape my own environment, but I've lived all throughout California from Los Angeles to San Diego. I spent most of my time here in Sacramento. This is where, my cannabis roots really came from.
Love that.
And then I joined the military. I was in the Marines. I lived in North Carolina for a few years as well.
Nice.
So, but all in all, to answer your question, I'd say I'm originally from the Bay. That's where my roots are from.
Nice. So, and you spent a little time in the Philippines too, didn't you?
I did. I lived there for 2 years.
Nice.
I get around.
Nice. This boy, he's well traveled. He gets around, ladies and gentlemen. He's been all over California, and I got him here. We got lucky enough to get him here with y'all today, man. That's what's up. Where'd you go to high school, bro?
So I went
shout out to high school.
Yeah, Carlmont High School. So you ever seen the movie Dangerous Minds?
Yeah,
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
So that's the high school that movie was based on. So it used to be a women's prison before it was even a high school. So it was in Belmont, like right in the center of like where Belmont, San Mateo, Redwood Shores, and EPA, which is East Palo Alto. And like it was weird because you had like some of the rich parents with like, their jock kids going from like Ralston, Belmont, but then you get like this influx of like all the hood kids from East Palo Alto kind of meshing with each other. Right. So it's two different lifestyles, and it was very interesting to see that because I would see like some of the jocks picking on like some of the nerds, right, back in middle school, and they thought they were the shit. And then going into high school after graduating middle school, it was a completely different world because now it wasn't their world. You know, a majority of them played football, but a lot of our football players were like Tongan Samoans that came from East Palo Alto too. So they couldn't,
They don't want no smoke with them boys.
Right. So the demeanor completely changed. So it was
Yeah.
like sticking, pretty much like these rich kids into like the hood, and it was just a very
Interesting
interesting
boiling pot of sorts.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
but me, I always played both parts, like trying to keep good
Sure.
relationships with everybody just to
That's right.
to maneuver through high school, leverage certain things.
Yeah, nice, man.
Yeah.
Before cannabis, what kind of jobs did you have, man? I think that's important to share because everybody, they see you and they think you showed up like this.
No,
and it's
so-
like, nah, I did like 10 things before this shit.
Yeah. So I mean, first was the military, right? Like that
Okay.
was my first. Well, actually, no. I went to high school. I spent part of my high school, the end part of it, in the Philippines, and then I moved back here. My
Okay.
first job was McDonald's.
Oh, fuck yeah.
my
paid
first
his
job
dues. Paid his
was
dues.
it was McDonald's, and then I remember working there. Like I got the interview. I worked there for one day. And the manager's like, I need you to take out the trash and clean this and that. And I literally just walked. I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I like it just took one day. And I was
Oh,
like,
you had one bad day in the real job?
the first day, I was like, fuck this. I'm out. I'm not flipping burgers, doing this stuff. Yeah.
Fuck you, cool. I'm out. Who's coming with me?
That's literally how it was though. And I was
yeah.
just, I just come back from the Philippines. I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to do this, So,
Yeah.
so I came back home and my dad was there. He's like, you came back from work early. I'm like, not to be honest with you, pops. Like I quit. Like it's just not for me. And he's just like, what are you gonna do? I'm like, I'll figure it out, but I'm definitely not doing that. Plus, I'm 17. I got time to figure it out.
Yeah.
So that was my first real job. Or I mean, I don't even know if you can count that because that was less than
One
day. Yeah, it was less than a
We'll
day.
count it. He filled out W-2. Put in
Yeah.
a couple hours. It counts. You punched the clock. You punched out. This shit counts.
But then, what really inspired me was I watched this movie, The Boiler Room. Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Coffees for closers.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I watched that, and ever since I watched that, I was like telling myself, my career, I want to be a fucking salesman. Like how they.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
You
So
wanted
like
to be a salesman.
Yeah.
No
Just that
shit.
whole movie inspired me. And then I saw
Okay.
the Wall Street movies. I'm like seeing their pitches, how they talk, the confidence that these salespeople had. So after seeing that movie, I started applying for sales positions.
Okay.
But I had zero sales experience.
Yeah.
So I started with a company that pretty much they would hire, whoever they could get their hands on. It was I forget the name of the company, but we sold rainbow vacuums.
Oh, wow.
Literally,
You started at the bottom,
I
son.
started at the bottom, literally knocking on, like going to different
yeah.
residential areas,
Oh,
knocking
yeah.
on doors, like, hey, let me pitch you this,
the
vacuum,
vacuum, yeah. I remember that.
getting doors shut on me. So that was my first sales job. After getting some experience with that, I knew how to beef up my resume,
Sure.
So then just kind of beefing up my resume to get me to advance to another sales job.
Okay.
And then at the end of the day, I started working for Verizon, and I didn't know what it was about sales. Like, certain aspects of it, assume the sale, qualify your consumer, all of this stuff was taught to me by like a direct manager who worked for me. And he's like, I see a lot of potential in you. You just have to be willing to learn, and you have to like put this into action, or you have to make sure that you're using everything that I'm telling you. And I did. And I remember crushing it. I worked at the Roseville Galleria over in at the mall over there. And I went from not being a good salesman to literally crushing it and just helping support the company. They would send me on vacations like, you're going to Las Vegas, you win this big
tight.
screen TV. And I was just putting people to shame. And there was one other salesperson who was like trying to compete with me. And he was based in the Valley Fair Mall in San Jose. And I'm stuck here in Roseville Galleria pulling twice his numbers, and he was always bragging like, oh, you can't get numbers like me. I'm like, well, let's switch. Let me go to the Bay. Let me go to San Jose where you get traffic at the Valley Fair Mall like no other.
Hella
And
traffic.
you come here to Roseville and let's see,
Right.
who's gonna win or who's gonna end up on top.
Yeah.
And we ended up doing that. And so like, cause the managers were curious, right? I'm like, it's all skill set. It's all demographics too.
Yeah.
It depends on where you're selling to.
And you was
also.
willing to take that ride too, just prove this fucking guy wrong.
Oh, I did. And they
No,
promote
I wasn't
like,
willing, I did.
I did.
Respect them or what?
Yeah, it was
That's what's
like
up.
10 times the amount of I remember closing more than 150 contracts in a day over
So
there.
you went to his hood on his block and sold more work than him.
And he got 0 sales on mine.
Ooh.
Like literally 0 sales. Like his tactic was way different
Donuts.
too. You know, yeah. So ended up doing that. Then, you know, I just had multiple sales jobs.
Yeah.
What was it? State Farm. I sold life insurance.
Okay.
Casualty, property
that gig.
insurance. Yeah.
Yo, it's crazy how, like, along your way, you know, even if you worked a couple shitty sales jobs, like, you learn and you take little pieces from each job and you apply it later in life. Like, I have jobs I fucking hated.
Yeah.
But I learned shit there, and I was able to apply it down the line, man. So you just gotta, take what works for you, make it yours, and keep it pushing. Bro.
You know, as I progress in the sales industry, one thing that I realize is even if you're a salesperson or not, you're always selling in life. Whether if it's with your kids, bargaining with your wife,
kids or
whatever
wife,
it
you
is,
sell
like
every fucking day.
you're literally trying to persuade them to accept your perspective or your
make your
point of
life
view.
better.
Yeah, so like that's where I realize I'm like
man.
everything is sales. It doesn't matter if I'm a sales rep or not. I'm literally trying to persuade someone a different idea.
Yeah, that's a fact. And there comes a point in every salesman's life where you catch that jewel. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? When you realize that, you're like, oh shit, and then you can start having fun with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're like, oh, this is my fucking game. All right.
Did it change when you realized that? Did life change when you
did.
realized that? Did you start seeing the tactics that work in sales, like work in human nature?
Oh, absolutely. So that's the thing is like once I started getting into sales and then learning how to actually persuade people, it got me more intrigued to study psychology and how the mind and brain works, you know? Yeah, human behavior, exactly. And then even pattern recognition. So that's where I started like applying so much to it. I'm like, damn, like I could literally create any reality that I want through my words. like that's literally that. Yeah.
Right. I kill all these motherfuckers.
Drink the cup.
Right. That's what's up, man. So, okay, so you're gamed up with sales. Let's talk about how you got into the weed game. Did you come in growing? Did you come in hustling? Did you come in, what happened? All the above?
You want to know
happened?
from the beginning how I got into weed?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Okay, so it started at Verizon Wireless when...
Oh, fuck, shout out Verizon. Shout out Verizon.
So like I, just completely transparent with like
it's cool.
my journey,
We
right?
ain't gonna tell nobody.
Okay, so... so... I had a boy he just always had money. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, bro?
Yeah.
Like, why you don't work? And he was one of my employees too. Like, he just had a job because he had to show his parents that he had a job.
Right.
But I asked, and this is like one of my childhood friends.
Sure.
I'm like, what? How you come in here with stacks, bro, and you're just shopping and like you live at home with your mom? What the fuck are you doing?
Right.
And he's like, bro, I'm hustling, I'm trapping. I'm like, what are you trapping? A little of that. Yeah. I'm like, okay, well,
All right.
I meet a lot of people also. I have a network, like let's partner up. And he's like, show me what you could do and we'll talk about partnering up because like I'm making good money,
Yeah, fuck I need a partner for.
Exactly.
Right.
So then, I found my own hook who happened to be actually like literally down the block from where I live.
Nice.
He
That's
was
convenient.
like, he was like, I have some of this stuff and you can try your network out. And the thing is I used to be a club promoter, right? So back in downtown Sac, I think the Park Ultra Lounge.
So did my man Rodney.
Yeah. So, the Park Ultra Lounge, I knew the head security, Ryan, over there, and he would never let me stand in line. He'd be like, just come on in.
Yeah.
You get the front,
You get the Goodfellas
Exactly.
entrance. Hell yeah.
So,
Come
and
into
I
the
literally
kitchen.
would come in sometimes in just sweatpants, bro, like to the club.
Oh,
And
man.
it's like,
Is that guy? That's what's up, bro.
So, and like there was the dress code and everything, but I met a lot of people at the club.
Sure.
And I'm like, a lot of these people like to dabble in this stuff.
Yeah, sure.
So I started putting myself out there like, yo, I got this. And they would all start coming to me. And then that's when my boy was like, look, I cover Roseville, Folsom area. You have the Sacramento, Elk Grove, South Sac area.
Ooh,
like
spicy.
let's team up together.
go.
I'm like, okay, now it makes sense. Let's do this. So
Hold
then
on. Was you on consignment or was you paying for your work?
Oh, I paid him.
Okay, cool.
I paid him.
I was gonna say, you jumped out the window on consignment, or you paid,
No,
you paid
yeah.
to play? Smart move.
No, for sure.
Smart move.
Especially, getting into it
Yeah,
also.
yeah, smart move.
So,
like it.
and then after that, like, that's where, like, my mind started thinking, like, there's got to be a better way. I could squeeze margins somewhere. Like, maybe I'm finding the wrong source. Like, let me just start asking other people.
Yeah.
So then at that point, I started becoming the buyer. So I'm like, okay, what do you have? Like, what, and they'd be like, these are bricks straight from whatever, stamped with the scorpion.
Oh,
and,
jeez. Hello.
and I'm like, well, how do I know this? And he's like, dude, I get it direct. You could try some of this and whatnot. And this person was a new source, and it was through my friend at the time. And,
Right.
I don't know if Phil will ever see this, but
You know what I'm saying?
he was my source at the time, and he's like, I'm gonna front you, like, and he grew cannabis, like,
Sure.
he grew it in his back, like, he lives in the Heights, so
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he grows, like, in his backyard.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
His
back then,
backyard's perfect for that.
yeah, and I never even thought about cannabis. I'm like, I'll smoke it. That's literally what I do, is I smoke it. But I always saw the money in what I was doing, you know. But I was just doing small shit, like, literally. Wasn't for me at the time. It was good money to make like a couple $100 a day, you know. But then at the end of the day, like, he had multiple hustles. He was growing. Plus, he was, he had me as a client. And then one of these days, I was like, have you heard of benzocaine? And he's like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, let me show you something. And I go to house and I have benzocaine, and it's this shit dentists use to numb you up, right?
Right.
And I literally chopped up the brick that he gave me. And I'm like, check this out. And benzocaine is shiny, so it looks like fish scale.
Right.
And we literally...
We used to cut our shit with Nacetal.
Oh, dude,
allegedly.
We whopped it up. And like, I'd have different tiers. I'd be like, okay, this one's a 1-to-1 ratio. You put an ounce of that, you put an ounce of that. This one's like a 3-to-1. You get the
70-30.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then the other one's just pure. And why? Because I had clients bitching that the fucking shit was too expensive, but like, they didn't want to pay top dollar for pure. So I'm like, well, fine.
Give them that
I'm gonna give you the choice on what you want to spend. So I had 3 different tiers.
Smart, bro. Smart.
So then I went to Phil's, and the hash puck makers for cannabis.
Yeah.
So after we would like whop it up, we would put it in the hash puck.
Oh, you re-rocking shit with the hash
would,
puck.
yeah.
Fuck, you didn't have no press or nothing.
We didn't have any
this
press.
Is old school re-rock.
So
Damn.
we were literally leaving it like that for a day, and then like we would try to get it out, and then we'd take like a little pick, just hit it in the middle, and it would break up like rocks. So none of it would be pure powder.
Oh wow.
And then
Nice.
yeah, and then at that time I had another source. He was from, originally he's from London, England. His name was and he he was another source of mine. He's like, hey, you're pretty well connected. Can you get me some cannabis? I'm like, yeah, sure I can. And Jimmy, Earthfire Genetics, right?
Yeah, shout out Jimmy. Earthfire Genetics.
So he's like, I need a 14-pack. I'm like, oh, that's easy. And he's like, I need them for 1,600. I'm like, oh, I got you, 1,600. So I call like, bro, I need 14 ounces. He's like, and I asked him, how much is each ounce? And he told me, he's like, each ounce is about 250. I'm like, bro, I'm fucking winning. He's asking for 1,600. So I call him. I'm like, I got 14 for you, and they're gonna be at 1,600. And then he sees it, right? And I show him like, 14 different ounces of different strains. He's like, this is all great. This is all 1,600. He was looking for outdoor at the time.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I see where this is going.
Yeah.
I see where the wires got crossed. Damn.
And he goes, this is great. Okay, bring me 14 pounds. Or where's the 14? I'm like, that is the 14.
You said 14 O's, bro.
He's like, no, I said 14 packs. I'm like, what the fuck is a pack?
Yo, so time out. So you were very considerably gamed up in the other.
Yeah.
But not with Tree. Like, you knew about re-rocking, you know about packs. Like, that's fucking crazy, bro. People usually, just so y'all know, people usually start with weed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And progress, but CB just jumped right in.
No, and he was like, a pack is a pound. I'm like, oh, fuck. So, at the time I was living with some of my folks up in Folsom and like El Dorado County. So like a lot of people in Placerville were growing up there.
Oh yeah.
And I had no clue. So I started reaching out to my network and they're like, yeah, we can find weed. We got it for $1,300. Like this one, they had some Mexican weed for $1,300.
Yeah.
And then that's when I started connecting the dots. People asking for 14 packs. I'm like, if I can make $300-$400 off of each pound, what the fuck am I slinging coke for?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, right.
I'm literally making like $500 to $1,500 a day, and I could be fucking sitting here making $3 to $5 grand a day, like just flipping packs if I had the right network.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, if I get caught with fucking weed, it's a slap on the hand.
Yeah.
If I get caught with an ounce of coke, I'm going.
See you later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
that's
for
a
me,
fact,
it was
bro.
a no-brainer. So then I started switching gears. During the time, like. Jimmy was also one of those sources for me too.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was talking to Jimmy and I'm like, bro, just stick to your earth fire genetics. You don't need to be in this game anymore. If you get caught with weed, it's not as much of a big deal as like if you were to get caught with the white.
Yeah. Sure.
So after that, like, all of us kind of switched out and like it left our lives. And then now we just started becoming, more immersed in the cannabis industry, just learning everything about it, and different qualities of it. Because I remember the first time I got, cannabis and it was super frosty. And I'm like, what is this, indoor? And they're like, no, that's outdoor. And I never knew outdoor can grow like that. In my mind, when I thought of outdoor, I was thinking no crystals, brown weed, but I never knew the whole, you can grow outdoor to make it look like indoor type of deal. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of how I got into the cannabis industry.
How were the games different? Because you were immersed in the coke game, then you got immersed in the weed game. How was the clientele different? How was the situation?
So
I know your phone wasn't humming at 3 a.m. no more.
No, exactly. And that was the thing, is my phone kept going off constantly. And like I had such a hustler mindset that if my phone went off at 2 a.m., I was making the trip to downtown Sacramento when people were getting out of the club. Yeah.
It's rush hour, baby.
The thing is too, is like when I got into cannabis, I'm dealing with a whole different set of clients. These clients are not at the club. They're not, these guys were money makers. Like, no, I need a 14 pack. Like I'm trying to make money. And they had specific cutoff times too, and like my network just grew from there. And then it expanded down to Los Angeles and whatnot. And that's kind of, that's how it all started as far as like the cannabis industry.
Shit, thank you for sharing that. That's a hell of a fucking start. I didn't even know that. Damn. Did you try your hand in growing at all?
I did.
Yeah?
I did.
You an indoor or outdoor grower? What do you prefer?
So it's funny. My first indoor partner was Jabron and Jimmy.
Yes.
And Jimmy, like he did not grow. He was just always sourcing. He broke down the math. If we do 2 lights, we can get this many pounds.
Yeah.
And, like it kind of fell through because we weren't at home to take care of them, and I never really believed in the vision to begin with.
Right.
Because it was, I always wanted to just move around and make money. I never wanted to start something and wait a month and a half until I got my money.
Right.
So that my mindset, I mean, that's still my mindset now.
That was my mindset. Yeah. No, it's still my mindset actually. Okay.
So
That
like
makes sense, bro.
And now it's just, you just have to learn different life hacks, like if I do want to grow, like I just want to manage it and still move around and do what I do.
Growing for fun and for pleasure.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So,
that's my sweet spot too. It's less stressful.
No, for sure. Well, and even that, like I'm growing for business still, but I don't want to be the one physically there. Like for example, Phil, he's the one, like he's Dr. Green Thumbs, he knows how to grow his depth. So I put him in the, I partnered up with him. I'm like, hey, let's be partners. We'll do a 50-50.
50-50 split?
Yep, 50-50 split.
And I'll buy all the packs.
Exactly, right? She keep it in the circle.
Easy.
Yeah, and like my mother-in-law is there, so she's
she crushes it.
Yeah, she crushes it. So not only that, she's doing construction. She's doing the whole build out.
Oh, she does it all, dude.
Well, as a matter of fact, like after this podcast, I'm probably gonna go there and help her with the build out a little bit.
That's right.
You know, like in the sense of like having to tend to the garden every day. I just can't because I'm losing and missing out on other opportunities.
Yeah,
but
for
if I
sure.
have a team that's reliable that I trust to put in that position, then I can do two things at once.
Yeah.
You know, and
Use your leverage.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And I always told, you know, I told my wifey this, like, we could do it all. We can do everything we want and we could do it all. We just can't do it by ourselves.
That's right.
You know, so we need to
That's
have
fact.
to.
That's
yeah.
fact. You gotta have a strong team,
Yep,
man.
exactly.
So that leads us into, you know, Higher Vibrations, Powerhouse, your brand, bro. Tell the people about your brand. Tell the people about Higher Vibrations, how that came about.
So, higher vibrations, pretty much like my whole life has been grinding, right? But when I thought of higher vibrations, I'm always thinking of a higher level of frequency
That's right.
within the vibrational frequency that I'm always, you know, trying to raise and make myself better. And I started that brand because, you know, Cindy and I, you were there for this
Yeah.
too. We got ourselves in a $900,000 debt that we had to pay off in 5 months, right?
That's when I met you, actually, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember telling it to you, and you're like, you're
And
telling me
I did the
this.
same thing.
And I had a smile on my face as I
Yeah.
was telling you this. But
dead serious.
you know, but within like my own potential and knowing what I know and working as hard as I worked, I know that within myself I'm capable of anything and everything, and that was the message that I wanted to spread to the entire world. You know, is that
Hell yeah, bro.
that we're the only limitation is ourselves, but we can always improve ourselves, we can always learn, always having that growth mindset
That's right.
and always vibrating at a higher frequency is and you know, the brand itself is representing the work that I put in through that belief, you know, and
Okay.
showing everyone else that, hey, this is fucking possible. Like, you could do it. Not like the only limitation is our mind and ourselves,
That's
you
right.
know, the limitations that we give ourselves. So that's how the brand Higher Vibration started,
Okay.
you know, and then that's when, you know, I started the brand, and it was back in Cindy's little studio apartment when she lived in San Jose.
Did you hear that? Starting a studio apartment.
And
Some of the illest companies starting in small spaces, man.
and I remember I only had like, you know, I didn't want to go fully in, so I invested $3,000.
Yeah.
So I called up Chaz. I'm like, hey, Chaz, you know, from Friendly Farms.
Yeah.
And
Shout out Chaz from Friendly Farms.
I'm like, yo, Chaz, I know you've been starting this whole sauce. And he was all new to the sauce, like live resin also.
Yeah.
I went to his house back in Citrus Heights, bro. Like,
shit,
and he
right.
had the closed loop and, you know, like just running everything.
it.
I'm like, where'd you get the source from? He's like, have you heard of Connected? I'm like, no, who's Connected? And this was like back in 2016, bro. He's like, yeah, they have a farm and I'm just running stuff for them. So like he showed it to me, and like, dude, I knew Chaz back 20 years ago, and
Wow.
like Jabron and I used to be his guinea pigs. He'd be like, I made tincture, try this. Like,
Oh, so Chaz been whipping up for 20
oh
plus years.
yeah, for sure. He used
Chaz,
to.
you coming on the show soon, bro. We'll see
He
you
was,
soon, player.
I think he was like, he worked in like loans or like life insurance
Yeah,
with our
I remember
other,
telling
yeah,
that,
with our
yeah.
other homie Henry Barlow. Like,
Okay.
and he just started the whole live resin. I'm like, yo, bro, I got $3,000. Let me just throw some down. He's like, yeah, I'll give you this. And back then he sold it to me for $20 a gram because it was, but that was cheap. That
was cheap, right.
That was
You could sell 50
cheap
grand.
back then, yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember making my first batch back in 2017, and like, you know, I was working for what is it, Delta 9?
Yeah.
And that's where I met you. So
Yeah.
I was
You were
I
going
was-
to get your stickers, I
Yeah.
remember, for your jars
right
for that sauce.
And I had like I think I only had like 112 grams because I only picked up a quarter ounce from Chaz.
Yeah.
And then I started phone hustling, calling different dispensaries, and the one who he's like, if you can come in 30 minutes, and I was already on my way. If you can come in 30 minutes, I'll give you the time of day. And this was Bert from PCF.
Big Bert, PCF. Shout out Bert. I want you on the show too, sir.
Yeah. And then I remember coming in, and at this time, you know, Friendly Farms was getting a little name for themselves because of their collab with Connected. And he's like, how much do you want for all of this? And the first place I went to, I sold each gram wholesale for $50, bro.
Damn.
And when I told Bert, you know, I'm like, $50. He's like, I can't pay $50. Give me a number and I'll take it all. That's literally what he
Yeah,
said.
that's usually what he says.
Yeah.
You know what
And
I'm saying?
I'm like, you 30. He's like 25. you know, and at that time I'm like, well, fuck it, like I'm making a few dollars, at least it gets rid of it and whatnot. And I said, yeah. And he's like, where did this get manufactured from? I'm like, you know, Friendly Farms made it. Friendly Farms did it. He's like, I know Friendly Farms. Who in Friendly Farms gave this to you? Like trying to test me to see if I really knew.
Right,
I'm like, I know Chaz and Darren, the two owners.
Yeah.
And I know Billy, the manufacturer. Like I know the whole clique. Like
Shout out the fucking squad, bro. Hell yeah.
and then he's like, okay, no, that's valid. You know, and he ended up
checks out, fellas. He checks out.
and he ended up taking the whole thing, and that's how I got, you know, Higher Vibrations started. But the reason why I did that also, right, was because when I was working for Delta 9, all they were selling were distillate carts. Right?
Yeah.
And I go to different dispensaries. The first one that I went to was a dispensary called Church, somewhere in San Jose, the Church. And I think they got busted because they found like weapons and stuff in there. And
God don't like ugly.
But I came to the realization after going to dispensary, they're like, what do you have? We don't want carts. Do you have pre-rolls? Do you have sauce? Do you have this? And I put two and two together. I'm like, well, the more SKUs I have, the better my chances are of actually making a sale. Because if I don't have, if they don't want carts, but they want something else, at least I have something like that to bring to the table.
So you had your own personal sideline.
Exactly.
Your brand.
But the fucked up part about it was I was still on payroll for this other, and I don't recommend any of my employees to do this.
Yeah.
But I literally was just leveraging it. I'm like, I'm making all these connections, and that's how I met JJ, bro.
Okay.
Like, and JJ put me up on game, like to help pay. Like honestly, if it wasn't for him,
He gave you some big buyers. I remember.
He
that.
gave me
Real
some big buyers, and to be honest, that's what helped me pay off this $900,000 debt that I owed in like 5 months. And he's like, bro, like I got these buyers. I'm moving back to LA. Let's do this. We'll make an even trade. I give you my clients, you give me your sources. And I'm like, dude, that's a done deal. Let's go. And that was with Paul Wyatt's homie, you know. And
shout out Big Paul, man. He's a fucking monster.
Yeah, and we like ever since.
And just so y'all know, I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no.
These are some whale clients. Like I met them, I dealt with them. Like they bring in big bread. So, yeah, and that's when we met.
Yeah, that's how we met. I remember. I don't know if I sold you your first pack, but I remember the first pack I sold you was Gorilla Glue.
Yeah, in
a parking lot,
parking garage,
right under 24-hour fitness in downtown Sacramento.
Gorilla Glue and a pack of Clementine.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was hard to move the Clementine, but the Gorilla Glue was so fast.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. That was.
And
the first
you were
two packs
taking what's the little dog's name?
Gizmo
To the vet because he got
the
something
fucking
stuck.
foxtail wrapped
Yeah.
Damn. He was in the car with me?
Yeah, he's like, I
Oh,
gotta take
shit.
this guy to the vet.
Damn.
I'm like, damn.
Hey, Gizmo's a rider, man. He done busted some plays with Pops, man. You know what I'm saying? That's great, man. That's cool, bro. That's a hell of a story.
Yeah.
So, what cannabis myths can you debunk? Do you have any what should the industry know that you know? Like maybe some stories or some myths in the cannabis world, or like some people should know that they don't know. Maybe it's not common knowledge, or maybe you know.
Well, I mean, one thing is that everyone has this, you know, notion that you make money in the license industry. You know?
Oh, let's talk about that. Let's talk about it.
So, you know, if you don't have the network and you're just some Chad that wants to get into the industry and you're from another, you know, industry, you're not going to make it unless you have some financial backing. If you're well, fuck it, I'm sitting on 30 million, let me see what I can do. Yeah, you know, you put the right people in the right places, you hire the right team, yeah, you'll make it. But if you only have like $1 million saved up, and you're trying to get into the industry without any network, without building that network, it's going to be a tough game because just like any other industry, it's all about relationships.
That's right.
And if you have no foundation with anyone that you're working with, as far as like something to go off of from the past or like any past history, with
nobody can vouch for you.
Exactly, no one can vouch for you. It's a little bit harder. For me, it's been easy to maneuver through this industry with the network that I have, with the people and relationships that I have as well. So that's helped me to really kind of navigate through this industry. And the thing is, it's like, how do you expect people to make money when you have to give 35% of what you make income, right, to taxes? You know, cannabis is the most heavily taxed industry in the entire world. Like there's no loopholes around that. The same way you have certain loopholes around certain industries because it's still federally illegal.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's federally illegal makes it even harder to like maneuver around it. And then you get like these, fucking politicians with their own agenda to try and like do things that are more beneficial for them, which ends up fucking people like us.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for real. It's
So
like,
yeah, the myth
that's
that
good,
I want to
bro.
bust
That was a
is
good
that
joke, bro. I didn't see that coming.
You don't make money off top just joining the license industry.
I get very interesting answers when I ask that question.
Yeah. What's the most
The
interesting?
first one I got on my first podcast, shout out Turkey Bag Tom. He debunked the whole purple punch, where it came from. It was like his man's cut from like 2011. It was supposed to be sold as sour cuts. He accidentally gave him this fire ass purple punch cut, and I don't know. It's one of them, the legend of the strain stories. You know what I'm saying? It was very interesting. I didn't know no idea about that.
Yeah, the licensing game is super crazy for everybody getting in it.
It is.
It seems like only the guys who came out of the medical, some of the
Strong.
connected,
Came out strong, yeah.
Came in strong with the relationships and network that he's talking about. Other than that, it's been guys like Runts who's put their name on the street first.
Yes,
and
yes.
then went to legal.
Did heavy
Seems
street
like
work,
those
yeah.
guys have a decent chance of
Yeah.
making it if you can run that risk for a while.
Right. And
Exactly.
That's the route I'm going
Yeah.
with the pizza. Like, I'm
And the
beating
thing
streets
is,
up first.
the manufacturing or distribution or farm is nothing without the IP. Like you could have a distribution center or you can have a farm, but if you don't have a brand to back that up, you're worthless because you have all these other manufacturers, all these other distros and farms.
And you're at their mercy.
Exactly, right? Well, no.
And timeline. And
Well, the thing is if you start by having a farm, right, and you don't have a brand, you're just a fucking commodity.
Yeah.
Like that's literally what you have. No intellectual property.
Yeah.
Now, if you have the intellectual property and you're in high demand and you own that brand, farms will go after you. And I'm speaking of like if you're not licensed and you have a brand.
Oh yeah, right, right.
And my advice is if you get into the license industry, don't fuck around with taxes or payroll or all that stuff because that shit will get draining. And it's really about building a brand. And that's the fun part about it, right?
Yeah.
Leave that shit to those guys. And if you want to build a brand and have an IP, build the brand, have an IP, forget about payroll, just find a distributor who's willing to do that for you, right? Because at the end of the day, like your only focus is sales and marketing and building your brand, like having that brand presence, right?
Exactly.
But then when you start getting into distro, you start getting into cultivation or all this other stuff. Now you're thinking about payroll. Now you're thinking about transport. You're thinking about your taxes, your insurance, your company insurance, and everything else that goes in all of that. You know.
And to your point, like even when we had Can Accelerate on Howe Avenue's Cannabis Resource Center in the medical model, we watched $10 million business plans, and I've probably seen 20 multi-million-dollar business plans go into production, but they were just money and an idea.
Yeah.
So they went and bought 19 greenhouses and this big property and everything, but they had no name. So they grew up, some of them grew up fire. And indoor facilities with 100 lights and grew really dope weed, but had no name and it's on the shelf. So they ended up selling it out the back door and closing their business to cut their losses and figure it out. So
and you saw that
point, we're going big, and I used to tell people start small.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Scale up,
build your name. Like, why put a $30 million business plan together when you can do it on 2 and start small and have that access to kind of build the name for a while.
Exactly.
Yeah, but what do I know, you know? You know what I'm saying? No, it's real talk, man.
It's like the same concept. Like if you're given $2 million, you're gonna budget $2 million, right? But if you're given $30 million, you're gonna squander $30 million. You're gonna try to budget it, but you can make do with what you're given, even if you have to bootstrap it. Like me, right? I know a lot of people that took in a lot of investors, 2 million, 3 million, we bootstrapped everything. I don't need a fucking 12,000 square foot facility to do what I need to do. Yeah. I need 2 small offices, and you've been there. Yeah. And it helps us manage everything. We don't have to like figure out where are we gonna get payroll or where are we gonna, how are we gonna pay for this or that. We kept things very practical and minimal because that's how you grow organically. You don't like, envision yourself 5 years from now and like say, you know what, in 5 years I'm going to be this, so let me just get this big ass space.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't make any sense. So
Right.
that's definitely
That's
one
not
advice.
including all the unexpected costs that come throughout the year from the DCC.
Yeah,
random
dude.
Visits and random inspections.
Yep.
That, oh,
Yeah.
you need this. Oh, your
Yep.
ramp ain't enough. Oh,
Yep.
your ADA compliant bathroom isn't up to par. Like
Yep.
we don't even take in clients, but you know, so the
No, for
unexpected
sure.
costs. It feels like they're trying
crazy.
to get out the poor people and like spend 10 years getting out the poor people before
Yeah.
they
Mm-hmm.
regulate this to a market where, you know, and put regular taxes.
But
Sure,
the thing is
sure.
they can't even regulate the traditional or black market. So then the thing is,
no.
it's like if people still have that network or that connection, they're not really weeding out the small guys either because they're still being able to sustain themselves in their business, you know?
Yeah.
So, but it's like I said, it's the people who have never been in the industry thinking they can get into it and still make it on
we
top.
see that all the time, man, all the time. So this is a key question, and I know you know the answer. What's your why? Why do you do it, bro?
Why do I do
That's
it?
important.
Honestly, it gives me sense of purpose, like, and it gives
Okay.
me fulfillment. Like,
Cool.
at the end of the day, my whole why is to make an impact, whether it's through me or through like my future family. And I think you and I had this discussion yesterday,
Literally
right?
yesterday.
So my why is literally trying to set myself up to where I can actually make an impact in the world, and it all goes back to higher vibrations. So for me, it's not all about cannabis. Like I have a bigger vision than cannabis, and it involves like a retreat center that has to do with higher vibrations, like everything in between that also, like with the properties that we're acquiring and just like making strategic moves, right? Cannabis for me is a stepping stone because that's where my skill set began. You know?
Right, for
Like,
sure.
but I also want to get that brand awareness outside of cannabis. Like I want people to see higher vibrations and not think cannabis. Like I want them to think, oh, that's the brand that helps people, you know, meet their full potential or helps heal people from certain traumas or like really exactly
Yeah.
a wellness, exactly.
brand, yeah.
You know, but not
dope.
not your typical wellness brand where everyone's like, you know, about the om and like
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
hippie stuff.
We don't have to. You don't have to.
Right,
meditate, you know what I'm
exactly.
saying? We recommend it. You don't have to, you know what I'm saying?
But like in a place where people could feel safe or like can share different stories about themselves and really try to make an impact in the world. So for me, like I've said, cannabis is it's a stepping stone, but my why is beyond cannabis.
Sure.
And it's really just building my legacy. And when I say legacy, I'm not talking about like Gary Vee fucking legacy, like where he wants the whole world to know who he was or
Yeah.
what he did. For
And own
me,
the
it's,
Jets.
yeah, exactly.
And I believe he will one day.
But for me, it's like if I can't, you know, I'll do as much as I can as an individual to make an impact in this world. But my main goal is to pass down knowledge and pass down everything that I've learned growing up through life to my own kids, you know,
That's
my
right.
future kids. I don't have kids now,
It's
but
dope, bro. It's a
you
good
know,
why, man.
yeah. So that's literally why.
Cannabis connected to your whole wellness chart? To
Yes,
your whole wellness?
it is. It is because for me, like cannabis has helped. Like if there's a cannabis god, I fucking pray to her every day. Like
Right.
because-
and she's for sure female. I like how you said
You
her. The cannabis guy is definitely female. Word.
you know, and the thing is, without cannabis, I wouldn't be where I am today. I mean, who knows? But like cannabis has been a huge stepping stone for me because it helped me get out of that $900,000 debt. It helped me to not only pay that debt off, but to start my own brand, to start my own distribution. And now we're going into manufacturing. So it has played a very essential role in everything that I've done. So I do plan to keep cannabis around for the long term for sure.
That's dope.
And it's really dope to be able to get into something you believe in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man.
As opposed to a product or
Sure.
a car windshield. You know,
Yeah.
it's like I really believe in cannabis
Yeah.
as a help to the world.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
It's like a
It's-
noble business.
It
to
is.
be
For
No, it
sure.
is, man.
It's a healer. And just like I'm a true advocate of plant medicine. Like
Me too.
And it could be cannabis, it could be from the vet. Like, I mean, I'm all holistic and self-sustainable. We have our
Right.
own garden, like even those plants, like
Yeah.
putting the right intentions into growing it and
Sure.
you know, like that in a way for me, and this is my own personal belief, but that helps raise my vibrational frequency, right?
Yeah, you
or
put
like
in food that you grew out of the soil,
Yeah.
your land. You know what I'm saying?
and even I'm technically, I guess it's not a plant, but like even like mushrooms, bro, like that helps me. Like it to me, it's just like another therapy session with my therapist, you know, because it helps me dig deep inside and help me realize the things about myself that I never knew, or maybe it's something that I did know subconsciously, but I was never man enough to confront
brought
them.
it to the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mushrooms have a beautiful tendency in doing that. That's real medicine as well, man. And it's like, you know, that's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. I'm gonna go. We're gonna make a hard left. And what's a weird skill you have?
A weird skill? Let's see. Weird.
or any cool life hacks you have, or a cool tool or something.
Oh, okay, cool.
You know what I'm saying?
Got it.
It could be something you hold with your hands. This a life hack. Like this is how you. I don't know. Make your bed in 3 seconds. I don't know. What do you got for me?
Yeah, okay, so for me,
You know what I mean?
I like to consider myself the laziest productive person
All right.
because
Let's talk about it.
and it goes back to not working harder but working smarter. I don't know.
Yeah.
Before I used to just want to do everything. For example, life hack, right? I'm into NFTs.
Yes, you are. Super heavy.
Yeah, and the way you have to get whitelisted is so rudimentary. Like it's just you have to spend hours on Discord and chatting, and I'm like, dude, this is taking way too much focus out of my business, out of my relationship. Like I can't do this. This is not sustainable.
Yeah, Chris went dark for a little while, dog, in the NFT space.
So
We had to bring him back in.
you know, and I'm like, well, I'm a fucking businessman. Like I shouldn't be doing this. So I hired one of our teammates from India who does all our graphic designing and everything. I'm like, yo, I'm giving you a new job. And he's like, what is it? You're going on Discord and you're gonna be paid per page, and I expect 10 pages of messages, and you're gonna get me whitelisted. And for every whitelist you get me, I'm paying you $200. And it's literally like the best thing that's ever happened. And it's
dude.
it's utilizing the people that you know, right? Leveraging
man.
certain people, and
Sure.
and that has helped me. So now, like, I hear, you know, Andrea, she's like, you know, I spent hours on Discord grinding, and she got whitelisted. She only made $500 off of that because the fucking NFT went to shit. You know, so like for me, it's like that's the last thing I want to happen.
What
to
did
me.
they offer you day one? You got that NFT. You got whitelisted for that NFT.
The highest
Y'all ain't
offer
believe
I
this
got,
shit.
like, was $145,000 for this NFT. I fucking
And
should
you
have
paid
sold
what?
it. I paid $600 for it. But I mean, it doesn't. I talked to some of my friends that are heavy in the NFT world, and they're like, you just so you know, that is not common. You don't just get a rare NFT like that. So they have, you know, you have your common NFTs,
Sure.
and then you have your top 50 rare NFTs, and I
Yeah.
managed to get number 36. So,
dope.
you know, usually after a reveal, the NFT price drops, which it did for Hape, you know, and I saw it drop from, what was it, 9 Ethereum to like 6 Ethereum. But then I'm looking at my phone and I can't pull up what NFT I got because it was during reveal and everything was kind of lagging. But I saw my offers. I'm like, what the fuck? If it's dropping in price, what did I get an offer for $70,000? You know? And then the offers started getting higher and higher and higher. And I'm like, holy shit, someone offered 100K. I'm like, fuck. And then like at that time I kind of had anxiety. I'm like, what do I do? Do I hold it? Do I sell it?
Yeah,
then
I know you did, bro.
I held it even longer, and then I got another offer for 145K, you know, but it was a learning curve because usually with high projects like that, you want to get rid of it fast if you have a rigor. But if you believe in the long-term vision of the project, and like if it's innovative, it's a blue chip, which I believe this NFT is, then you hold on to it, because what's 145K if you can hold on to it for another 6 months to 12 months and then come up on a couple mil, you know?
That's right.
So that's where my mindset is, and I looked into the roadmap, I studied it in and out, like no other NFT is doing this type of stuff. And then I don't even spend time on Instagram anymore, bro. Like I'm on Discord and Twitter most of the time, and that's where I get a lot of the information from.
That's wild.
So, yeah.
That's dope. Well, we gonna hang another hard right.
Sure.
And what would you, if you could go back to your young self, and like as soon as you got in the game, what would you tell you?
Fucking invest.
Invest in what?
Invest whatever it is, because you know, whether it's stocks, well, future me now, right? And back then,
Yeah, you're talking to me about
yeah,
stuff,
back
yeah.
because I started hustling like on the streets back in 2010.
Yeah.
And the one advice I would give myself is, look at this Bitcoin that's selling for 75 cents each. Take your fucking $1,000 and put that in Bitcoin.
That would have been some good game, bro.
That would have been my fucking advice. And I'd be like, you wouldn't believe me now, but I'm going to tell you that this 75 cents crypto is going to be worth 70K in 2021.
Amazon stock would have got you pretty good too.
That's right.
Not as much
right.
as Bitcoin, though. Bitcoin,
Yeah.
you bought a coin cost literally $1 back in 2010.
I'm fully in.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
You know, $1,000 10 years ago would make you a multimillionaire right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, I
Like,
got in at 2014.
that's still early.
But I did sell a lot in that boom when it hit the 20,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I did off
Yeah.
a bunch, like, oh, this ain't going, fucking man telling me it's gonna be $100,000 one day.
Sure. I can't take it.
I sold a bunch, but then started buying again at that time.
Yeah.
You still holding
I
down
kept
some crypto?
investing. Yeah. Oh,
Okay. Okay, good.
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right. All right.
Fully vested.
Jamie's in.
Crypto's,
talking about.
you know, now I'm more certain about crypto than I am with stocks, to be honest
hell
with
yeah,
you.
bro.
Especially
Hell
if you're
yeah.
talking about Bitcoin, too.
Especially all the bullshit we saw last year. Yeah, right.
It's funny, I was
Jesus.
watching this podcast. Yeah, you know, the CPI report's coming out on the 16th to show, like, you know, the Fed's coming out with the report to report inflation. They said inflation's 7% right now since 1982. But then I saw a podcast with Michael Salem and Patrick Bet-David. He's like, they're telling you, you know, it's 7% inflation. Last year, gas prices were $4 a gallon. Now they're $6 a gallon. Tell me, how does 7% add up to $2 of $6?
Where'd that factor in?
Exactly. So it's like these guys are making up numbers to misconstrue like the image of like where inflation really
Sure.
is. Year over year,
Yeah.
year over year, real estate has gone up 18%. You know, so where's the 7% from the
Right.
CPI data that's
Right.
coming out? And the thing is, it's the Feds giving this report. You know, so you can only take it with a grain of salt.
That's right. That's right.
2 grains.
2 grains. So at this point in time, we're gonna light the joints. We're gonna do a little strain review today. I like to feature a strain on every episode.
Nice.
Today we're gonna do OZ3 by the Terp Hogs. Shout out Fields and the gang up there. Shout out Alien Mike. I grabbed this from him. I'm a fucking big. I've said it before on the show. I'm a big Skittles fan, and I like Skittles with gas. And OZ3 is doing it for me. It's I believe it's Z3 crossed back to Eddie Lep OG, which is, you know, the Z3 was Eddie Lep OG times Skittles times Skittles.
What's
I
Eddie
believe.
Lep OG?
It's just it's a dope OG strain.
Okay.
Homie Eddie Lep.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Eddie Lep. You know him personally. That's dope, bro.
Really.
That's awesome, man.
He got paroled and got a job at my office.
No shit.
That's the only place he could come to and accelerate every single day. So it's been 8 to 10 hours with him every single day.
Oh, that's what a legend,
two
bro.
plus years. Then just heard all the stories.
Oh, you heard all the fucking stories, bro.
Wow. Yeah, it's gnarly, dude.
Wow, that's dope, bro. So yeah, man, shout out Terp Hogs, shout out Eddie Lep, shout out Fields, and OZ3. I fucks with it. So, Chris, how do you prefer to use cannabis? How do you like to consume? What's your twist?
Well, lately, honestly, so I used to like roll up J's just like that, and I do prefer J's.
Big old fingers.
But to be honest, now I'm just like Cindy. You know, she's like trying to be efficient, so she takes dabs.
Yeah, she's
For me,
wifey's a dabber.
I want to be efficient also, but I can't fuck with the dab, so I just smoke it out of a bong.
Oh, nice. You scaled it back to the bongs. I know a lot of cats going back to the bongs.
Well,
man.
the thing is when I
think I'm gonna
smoke,
grab a bong.
when
man.
I smoke joints too, they don't light me up the same way a bong does. Like I could smoke a joint and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm kind of lit, you know. And I built up I stopped smoking for 3 weeks. Remember?
Yeah.
Tolerance break. And then I started smoking again like a few days ago.
Yeah.
And it was what I needed because for me it was just a waste to keep smoking
Yeah,
weed
dude.
and like
We just
I'm
gotta
not
keep
even high
smoking more.
anymore.
Shit.
Yeah, I just got to quit for 3 weeks. So I
trying. Yeah,
can,
same here.
You know. Well, I took the opportunity when I went to Belize.
Oh yeah, it's perfect, bro.
And I smoked, like I brought 1 gram cartridge, the collab that we did with Lifted Farms.
Yup.
And like Cindy smoked through half of it, and then she finished it off in the middle of the vacation. I'm like, fuck.
Damn,
And we ended,
whacking that
and then
thing, boy.
we bought some weed. I think it
Oh,
was
you got some Belizean?
yeah, $40 an eighth.
How was
bro.
it?
It was. So it was oxidized. It was wet, but you told me your weed was wet too. So I'm like, okay, it was just the
So wet,
humidity
dog.
there.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
But it was high in CBN because it didn't get me high, but it
you
got me
sleepy?
sleepy. And I'm
It's
like,
oxidized.
yeah.
When it oxidizes, the CBN kicks up. You know
Yep,
that?
and I'm like, oh, this is perfect because I'm not getting stoned, but I'm getting sleepy. This
Yeah,
is, and
good
the
for
only
sleep.
reason why I smoke is to go to sleep. Like I don't really smoke. You know me, I don't really smoke in the day.
Yeah.
You know,
Unless
unless
you're hanging with me.
unless exactly, or if, you know, like if
Yeah.
I'm doing
If you don't have hella shit to do or no business meetings, where you
exactly,
really gotta fucking
because like
focus.
if I just have to like do mindless things like constructing or like
Yeah.
cleaning up my property or stuff like that, which I'm doing later on today,
Perfect.
I will smoke.
Perfect.
You know.
Perfect weed smoking
But-
situation.
But I typically just use it to go to bed, and like if the weed's not kicking in, then I'm not going to bed, you know.
Right.
So I had to take that tolerance break, and it was a good thing because now I'm like, you know, I feel it now. I'm able to feel different effects of different
Yeah.
strains.
No, that's
Also,
dope.
I remember I smoked that Joker's candy, and I'm like
nice.
trying to go to bed. I'm like, I'm not going to bed. I'm talkative. I'm like, you know, so
it
I'm
get you
like,
going?
yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this must be some type of sativa
No,
or something
sativa
like
hybrid
that.
situation. Yeah.
And I'm like, this is not the one to smoke to go to bed.
Yo, you know what? I opened my eyes up when I went to Belize, right? I cracked open the little pack,
Mm-hmm.
all my little quarters and eighths or whatever the fuck. I think I bought like an ounce and a half for a
Yeah.
week, right? And rolling it up, and I just can't keep it lit. Just fucking, what the fuck, dude? This shit ain't breaking up right. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, yo, not only is California the perfect growing climate, it's the perfect climate
Smoking
for
climate,
storing
yeah.
and smoking weed. Like, it's a good,
Yeah.
it's not so hella humid. It's not as dry as like Nevada.
Yep.
You know, you get some weed in Nevada, that shit is like powder by the time you break it up. You know what I'm saying? It's just the environment.
Yeah. Well,
So I'm
I
like,
didn't
damn,
even.
I had that revelation while I
Yeah.
was down there.
Well, we didn't even have papers, right? So we ended up buying a fucking pipe off the, or you know, the vendors by the beach.
Yep.
I'm like, let me get
Yep.
that crystal pipe, and we had a lighter like this, but it was a torch lighter. You just press it, and it was like.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck
So we just used that. I'm like, this thing still ain't burning, and we're smoking
Oh,
it out
no
of them.
shit.
Yeah, and we just
Damn,
kept
son.
roasting it. I'm like, this is eventually gonna turn dry. Like heat,
We
heat.
just
has
keep
to-
working it, babe. Keep working this fucking bowl. The amount of work that went into smoking this fucking bowl. Jeez Louise.
And it was funny because like Cindy'd be like, throw that weed away. I'm like, babe, it's so humid here. There's still weed in that bowl. She's like, you roasted it for a while. I'm like, trust me, that's wet weed we're smoking.
Yeah,
Like,
we're good, babe.
Yeah, we could still smoke.
We might
that.
have smoked off a couple trikes, but there's still goddamn weed there to burn. You know what I'm saying? If you had a special weed power, what would it be?
A special weed power?
Yeah, one. You get one.
One weed power.
One. It could be
To
whatever you
duplicate more weed.
want. Okay, that was similar to my answer. That was similar to my answer.
Pounds of light.
Nice. So Jamie's still gonna do the work. He's still gonna do the work. 8 pounds just don't show up. He's gonna grow that motherfucker. He's hitting 8 a light. Everybody's gonna want his recipe. You can't have it. Word. Let's talk about weed etiquette, man. What do you hate? What gets on your nerves with weed, bro? Like you know, some people might get the joint too wet, or you know, lick the blunt too much when they rolling, or steal the keef
weed.
out of your keef tray.
Oh, okay, here's one. And this was like back in the Bay Area. It was like you corner a bowl, you don't fucking roast the whole thing.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Just catch the side of the
Yeah,
bowl, right?
but that was back in the day, you know, in high school. Like,
Yeah.
dude, what the fuck are you doing?
'Cause
You
the
just
first
roasted
hit,
the whole.
you get all the flavor. all the
Everyone
terps.
wants green, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we didn't used to be stopped
corner.
like that when we were young.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you doing?
Let me ask you this. Did y'all used to do this? If you dropped the blunt or the joint, you had to put your hand out in the siphon. Everybody slap the shit out of your hand.
No.
Yeah, that's some Jersey shit, I guess. Yeah, yo, you drop that shit. Yo, put your shit out, bro. Everybody in the sife smack the shit out your hand. Damn. Yeah, and people sometimes do it twice. Like you switch hands on them. You know what I'm saying?
I dropped the only blunt we had out the window crashing it
That hurts,
on an
bro.
overpass.
That hurts.
He tried to
I've
pull
done
over
that.
and find it.
Oh yeah, you did. Fuck yeah, you did. I did that recently, bro. I did that fucking recently. I couldn't believe it. I was about halfway through. It was still chunky, but I was high. I wasn't turning around. But I was like, yo. And then all those memories came back like, when it really hurt. Like when you like 13, and that was your after school joint for the fucking day, and all the big homies looking at you like, oh, I'm about to die. Fuck me, I fucked everybody's day up. Oh. Oh man. What's your favorite place to smoke, bro?
My favorite place to smoke? Damn, honestly, on my deck, looking over the mountains and trees.
Ladies and gentlemen, he has a fucking heavenly view when he wakes up. It's fucking crazy. It's some old resort shit, bro. It's and the sun rises over the trees, over the little valley in his yard. It's ill.
Even when it snows, bro.
Yeah, when it snows,
it's like
bro.
a winter
fucking movie.
wonderland.
Yeah, it's a movie.
I feel like I'm in Narnia.
I love
sometimes.
seeing my California friends play in snow. It brings me back to my childhood. That's what we used to do when we were like 5, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But like, I just mean it in a loving, endearing way because
sure.
it really makes me feel like a kid. Like I watch you like making snow angels and like for example, when I moved here, there was a freak fucking hailstorm in Natomas in 2017. And I was watching people pull over, like put the hazards on. I'm bobbing through this shit, right? I go to pick up my daughter at Natomas High. There's kids on the pavement, and this is like a little slush. It ain't nothing that special, it's just messy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We call that enough to make a mess back home. There's kids doing snow. They've never seen snow. There's kids doing snow angels on the pavement. Me and the kid, my daughter and the kid, we're like, yo, look at this kid. Yo, this is crazy.
Yeah. So that was one of the years. I don't think it's ever snowed in Sacramento until 2018 or 2018.
Maybe it was 18.
I remember
no,
that.
It was 2018.
Yeah,
because
Cindy sends me a video,
bro.
and I was in the Bay, and she's like, "It's snowing in Sacramento. You didn't tell me it snows here." I'm like, "Babe, this is the first time it's." My 7 years of living in Sacramento, it has never snowed.
There was a quick 3 inches.
Yeah.
It happened real quick. And it wasn't in North Highlands. It was only in Natomas.
No, it was in
North Highlands.
It was in downtown Sac too.
Downtown, like that little sector.
Yeah.
I was 26 before I seen snowfall.
No shit, bro.
In my life. I'd seen it on the ground in Reno and that type of shit.
Right.
But I'd never seen it fall.
You ever seen it fall, right? It's amazing. It's gonna be amazing, bro.
So yeah, I still get that kid feeling.
Man.
Like, oh,
man, yo, bro, man, that's ill. I can't imagine not seeing it that late, man. It's like, cause my childhood, part of my childhood was just a dream, man. Like my grandparents had like the hill, the neighbors, kids our age. We used to take the fucking sleds down the hill. You had to stop before you went off the little cliff into the brook. You know what I'm saying? Like it was dangerous. It was fun. Like you know what I mean? Snowball fights and.
Crazy enough, snow has been a part of my childhood because, back in the day, my parents would gamble a lot. And the only 2 places you go to gamble is Tahoe or Reno.
Okay.
So ever since I was 2, every single fucking weekend, we would go up to Nevada. And I would see snow. Like, it was a part of my childhood for sure.
Okay, let me just
Except for the shoveling. I got to experience that recently.
That shit was whack.
Like, my back hurt.
I tried to warn him, folks. He wouldn't listen. He's all ears now.
Oh yeah, snowblower for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's crazy. So, that brings us to, there's nothing more nostalgic than your first time smoking weed. So, hit us with the first time you smoked weed. And if you didn't get high, because some people don't get high the first time, I want to hear about the second time you got high.
I was going to say, the first time I didn't get high, then it was with my homie in the Bay, Jamal. And I was 13 years old.
Shout out Jamal.
Yeah, and he was like,
Put my boy on.
because he was the one who always smelled like weed, and I was like, I don't think I would ever try smoking weed, but then he's like, you got to try it, it's not what you think. It was behind a dumpster.
Fuck yeah. That's exactly what you're supposed to smoke when you're 13 first time. God damn it. You gotta get low behind the dumpster.
Right?
Bitch.
And it was in an apartment complex.
You feel me? You feel me?
It was behind a dumpster and we were just smoking and I'm like, how does this feel? And like, he's like, you don't feel high? I'm like, honestly, I don't know what I'm supposed to feel.
Right.
And he was like, let's just go back to your crib, because we smoked a lot of weed too, because he got it from his sister, who was like a senior in high school, and like she was like one of the main dope dealers in high school over there at Carmel High School. And we went back to my house, and he's going through my fridge. He's like, you got Hot Pockets.
Oh, he's fucking your fridge up, dog. You're like, why is this guy so hungry?
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't feel high. So, that was the first time I smoked weed, but I couldn't say I really got high.
Right.
Now, the second time I got high was through my homie Ernesto. Well, Wes, like my friend Wes, we he was my road dog back then, and we would just go everywhere. And he's like, let's smoke weed again. And they were smoking it out of a bong this time. So I take a hit out of a bong. I'm like, I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything. And same with Wes. He's like, I don't feel anything either. And I just turned my head, right? And this whole swoosh feeling came over me. Yeah. I'm like, whoa, what is this feeling? And I'm like, hi, I feel light. I can't stop laughing. I miss the laughs. Like I don't smoke weed anymore.
Chasing.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and I don't get that anymore. But like I'm all like laughing. I can't, like, my ribs would hurt. And like my stomach would hurt. Like just anything was funny back then, you know? Yeah. And like, and
bro.
And I'm riding the bike in the back, and he's like talking to one of his one other homie in the front. And in the back, like, I'm just riding this bike and I'm singing "We're Jamming" by fucking Bob Marley. Like,
oh, you went all in.
And
that's a great first experience, man.
And I was just singing "We're Jamming," and like, and it's funny because my parents used to think that smoking weed was worse than drinking. So anytime my eyes were
so
lit,
they wasn't cool with it.
They never knew. Like I think my stepdad knew. He's like, I know, you know, like he was whatever about it. But my mom.
The sideways look, or he just, I see you, little motherfucker.
No, he didn't give me the sideways look. He just blatantly, you know, nonchalantly said to me, like, I know what you do. There's no big deal.
You out.
He's like, I know what you do, but if you ever want to, you know, don't hide shit from me and don't lie to me, and we won't have problems. That's all he said.
That's peace.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah.
I can fuck with that.
And then my mom.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
And then my mom was like, why are your eyes so red? And my first excuse is, I'm drunk.
Oh man, damn, bro.
You know, for her it wasn't that bad. She was like, okay, just drink responsibly. Okay. All right. So, you know, so like, I don't know what it was with her, but like, you know, parents back then had a misconception with cannabis.
Well, not mine, but yeah, I understand.
You know, so like my first excuse is like, oh, she won't care if I'm tipsy or whatnot, you know, so.
Yeah.
You gonna like that?
Yeah. My bad.
It's all good.
Yo, I need to pass it to you, guys. Shit. Damn.
It's all good.
I smell it. Can I have it? Yeah, shout out Chirp House, man. The OZ3, baby. You know what I'm saying? Fucks with it. Heavy. You know what I'm saying? What's your craziest experience while smoking weed, bro? Give me a wild weed story.
So this story.
He had it ready. God damn,
this story I never forgot, right? Like, I got high with Wes again and our other boy Leighton.
Shout out to Wes, man. This is the second story I've heard within 5 minutes. I feel like this is gonna be good.
I think you've met him. I'm not sure if you have. No,
I haven't, but I remember
he lives down in LA now. But our first story, right, was when we actually got high again. We smoked out our boy Leighton, and we go into Nob Hill to get some like munchy food,
right?
Like to buy some stuff. And as we're leaving the store, my boy Leighton's trying to get out of the door, which they already locked, right? And they put boxes in front of it too. Yes. And the guy's like, hey, you can't go out that way. You can't go out that way. And I don't think he heard that. He just heard, hey, you know?
So he's trying to
yeah, so he's trying to bounce out. He's trying to bounce out.
Leighton's about to dip.
And he like runs the other way to the door. And he runs out and he's like, hey, I was just telling your buddy he can't go out that way. There's boxes, it's locked. And I'm like, oh, okay. And like Wes and I go out, right? And then I start running after Leighton. And he's hiding behind the bushes.
Oh,
and then I go behind.
How old were y'all, man? Hold up.
14.
Okay.
14,
I'm trying to picture the age here.
14. And he goes behind the bushes. He's like, what the fuck was that about? I was fucking with them. I'm like, bro, they're calling the cops. Like, Wes got caught.
Oh, why you do Leighton like that, bro?
I was like, and the thing was, when I said that, there were sirens, but it was just, it wasn't because of that. And he's like crying and like he's hyperventilating. He's like, I don't know what to do. He's like, bro, Wes gave your name too. Like, we didn't want to get in trouble.
Told him the homie snitch. God damn, bro, you tortured this poor kid.
And he was like, seriously? And then fucking Wes comes out the woodworks. He's like, bro, it's just, we're all laughing. And he got hella fucking butthurt about that. He was like, bro, like, don't fuck around like that. I'm going home. Like, you guys are not fun to hang out with anymore. And he fucking dipped out. Like, he went home.
Did he ever chill with y'all again?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
It was just a joke, but like, he had a moment. Cause like, he was hyperventilating.
Yeah. Oh, you fucked him up. Oh, wow.
He literally was hyperventilating.
That was a good one, bro. That was a good one.
But that was probably the most memorable, like...
that was the most lit one I think we've had on the show yet. That was fun. That was fun. You brought me back to the 14-year-old days. I like it. If you could smoke with one person, who would it be? I'll give you one alive and one that is passed.
One that's alive. Well, alive, that would be my wifey.
No, you haven't smoked with.
Oh, that I haven't smoked with.
Yeah. That's very cute. Shout out to Cindy.
Let's see. One that I haven't smoked with that's alive. Shit, I smoke with who would that be that's still alive? It'd have to be someone who hasn't smoked too, just so I could see how that's like.
Yeah? Oh, see, you like fuck with people.
Yeah, so like if someone that's alive, I'd like to see.
Put a Leighton on them.
And if I could video record them, I'd fucking get Biden high and fucking smoke with him and fuck with him and have it all recorded too.
Joe Biden, damn, all right, I didn't see that coming. All right. And then really,
if I could record it too, not because
he said he was gonna free.
Exactly, you know right. One that's passed away.
That's hella cool.
Damn, man, my bad, y'all.
Or he would just be quiet. He would just be quiet and no,
Sleepy
not like.
Joe, that's fucking right. Go sleep on your ass, man.
See, one that passed away, I'd probably say it'd have to be. Sure, I smoke with Malcolm X or like.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
or like Martin Luther King, and like really like, because like I know he did a lot of good things, you know, for the whole black community and whatnot, but like I want to know about his personal life too, because you know I've heard that he was brought up by a pastor, right? And he used to whip him, and I read this in the book, what is it called, The Power of Human Nature by Robert Greene.
Okay.
And like he would tell his son, like, you know, I'm doing this out of love. God loves you, you know, this so you could be a better man, whatnot. And then, but during the process too, he was also, you know, he was a little scandalous with his loved one too, because he would go hopping around too.
Who,
right?
Pops or?
No, not Pops. Martin.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's, you know, a thing that a lot of people know about him,
sure.
you know, because they think about. So a lot of people think of him, of his movement, which he made a really big impact, right? But I would like to dive in with him to see like what got you to this, you know, and made you so convicted in that. And like if you were a man of God, you know, and I just want to understand your thought process. Why did you do these certain things? Was it temptation, or did you validate it through some belief?
Because when you see a man of that stature, you're like, and you see they have flaws, like everybody, you're like, man, what?
Yeah, and it's not even
because maybe I was struggling with that. You know
exactly,
like,
because it's not even really to pass judgment, it's to learn, right? Because we all go through similar experiences. Not all of us are perfect as well, but
not all, literally not all.
Yeah, like
zero.
Right, but it's just.
He said no 99 times. I just one walked up.
Feel me.
I'm not that strong.
Yeah.
Like once you get famous, they start throwing themselves at you, bro. Like fuck, it's hard to be that man. Like it's hard to keep saying no.
Right.
Like, I got a wife at home, but they know that. Like, let me suck your dick a little bit.
You know what I'm saying? What are you gonna do? What are we saying in Jersey? What are you gonna do? What do you want from me over here?
Oh man.
I get it.
I said no 99 fucking times over here.
Another one walked around.
For real.
I should get a medal.
Right. Talking about one, yes, shit. Dude, everybody fucking shout out MLK, baby. That's a fact, man.
Get your play, my brother.
That's a fact. What's one of your stoner habits?
Fuck, it's actually one that I need to cut out, but my stoner habit is eating.
Eating, okay.
Well, here's the thing too. It's
late night munchies? That's my dilemma.
Exactly, late night munchies. Because I could get high right now. Obviously, I'm not gonna go, like, even after this podcast, I'm not gonna go look for a place to go eat because I'm like, I got the munchies, even if I do have the munchies. But the thing is when I'm not moving, if I'm not working, and if I'm on my downtime and I'm getting high at 9 p.m. and I'm about to go to bed at like 10 to 11, like there's my food cabinet is stacked. You know, a bag of chips a bag of family sized chips could last only 2 days, like two nights of smoking. You know, and like I see it, I'm like, fuck, that's one habit that I have that I'd like to cut out.
Okay.
I can hold a lighter for 45 minutes and not realize I'm doing it.
What?
Do you look for the lighter?
Because I relight joints.
Okay, got you.
So I don't even realize that I'm not even lighting the joint, but I'm still holding the lighter.
Yeah. That's an interesting one. What's the craziest shit you ever happened to you while you was stoned at a strip club?
That's specific.
Now, y'all have not heard this asked before because I have to
Okay.
see who my guest is and I have to know their relationship.
Craziest
I feel like he
thing?
can get away with this.
Well, craziest thing that happened to me at a strip club while getting high.
Yeah.
Because there hasn't really been any crazy thing, but I would say yakking. Honestly, I got too high. I had to go out to the parking lot and fucking yak.
It happens.
You know?
It happens.
But that was the first and last time I ever got high at a strip club.
What, okay. All right. The first time you ever got high at a strip club?
Yeah.
You yacked?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, I was
What'd you get high off of?
weed.
Just weed and liquor?
Yeah, just weed.
Okay.
Well, it was just weed because I ate an edible and I smoked a joint before going.
Okay, so the edible
like-
might have got you.
So
too.
the edible got me stoned, and then the smoking topped it off.
Yeah.
And Wes is crazy driving.
West again. West keeps popping up, man.
Oh, we had like a lot of first times together as far
Okay.
as like smoking. My first freestyle was with Wes.
Okay.
And like the story behind that was we were with our homie Scott's girlfriend, who would never smoke weed, and she's like, "Oh, I won't tell my boyfriend," and who was also a really good friend of ours. He's part of the clique. We're like, "Well, fuck it. If you want to do it, let's smoke." And then Wes and I smoked, and we had what was that? That song. Damn, it was I forget the name of the song.
East Coast or West Coast?
No, it was West Coast. I forget the name of it, but it had like a very specific beat. And I told Wes, I'm like, hey, let's try to rap. And he was like, I can't rap. And I'm like, no, we could just rap, and I could talk to you and just rap like this. And then it started going into a freestyle, and I'm just like, and this is how you do it, And then he was like, oh shit. And I'm like, and that was my first time freestyling with someone, because I had practiced a couple of days before, or not practiced, but just like spitballing and whatnot.
We all used to be little closet MCs before you really came out with your shit.
And then so he started freestyling, and he's like, bro, this is fun. I'm like, yeah, no one's judging you. We're doing this for fun anyways. It's not like we're trying to be celebrities or artists. Let's just fucking do it.
Yeah, that was fun, man. That was fun. Just flowing, freestyling in ciphers back in the day and shit while you smoking. I've been in some ill ciphers, or in and around some ill ciphers, man. Just fuck, bro. Hey, I got a question for you. What's the first weed device you ever had to like MacGyver? Like a fucking, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Well, technically it was a can.
Okay.
Like
Coca-Cola, Pepsi? You remember what brand? Mine was Coca-Cola. I remember it was red. I just remember red.
Oh yeah, I remember red too. I believe it was a Coca-Cola. But then my homies back in school were like, oh, why are you using the can? That shit's bad for you. Like, what do you use? I use an apple. You take a pen, pop, pop, and we were smoking out of an apple.
Yeah, the apple bowls were cool.
Yeah.
Had a cool little taste. Kind of got harsh sometimes. It's probably the weed though. Weed sucked back then.
Yeah.
When I was smoking weed out of apples, the weed fucking sucked. Let's highlight your favorite 3 growers, man. You know what I'm saying? Or brands. Could be old, new, still around, not around, don't matter.
Growers.
Who you fucks with?
Honestly. So, damn. Well,
It could be
honestly.
your friends, whatever.
No, honestly,
Don't matter.
the best weed, and I think I've told you this before, the best weed I've ever smoked was that Zerb from you. And
Zerber?
I think that was SF Canna, yeah.
SF Canna. SF
And
Canna.
I can't stop going back to
You got a
that.
favorite.
Like, and it's that specific
Oh, it's
strain
so fire,
from them.
bro.
And I've
Zerb's
tried
fire.
everything, like from the Alien Labs Connected to Doja to all of that, and like just the terps on that, and like how smooth it was. I'm like, and I literally would like compare weed. I'm like, okay, this one's another top shelf. Let me like try this. And it was the right, the right amount of like terps, like to where it was, I don't know, it just tasted sweet. It was really good. It was not harsh at all. Like the smoke was light. Like the
You get a good
drawback.
batch of Zerber, it goes crazy, bro.
Yeah, that drawback on the first
They're still
one
running that too.
Are they?
Yeah, hell yeah, they're still running that. I think Wyatt just took some pictures of it.
Yeah.
Like 2 days ago.
So that, I mean, honestly, that's like the best weed I've in my personal opinion that
right.
I've ever smoked out of everything that I've tried.
If you had to pick a strain to describe you, what would it be?
A strain to
Me, I'm
describe
sour
me?
D. You know what I'm saying?
That's
I'm a
funny.
Jersey boy. That's easy. That's a given. Sour. Grew up in the '90s.
Let's see. If I were to, it would probably be GDP.
GDP. That makes sense. You from the Bay, play.
Yep. It would be GDP.
All right. I like it. I like it. Top 3 strains of all time. One new, one old, one deserted beach flavor that you just. That's all you got, bro.
So Zerb. That's the new one.
Deserted beach.
Huh?
Which one?
Oh,
what's
wait.
the new one?
The new one, yeah.
New one's Zerb. Okay.
The old one's GDP.
GDP. All right. Keep
And
it very consistent.
What was the last one?
Deserted island.
Deserted Island.
Yeah, you stuck like Chuck, bro. You ain't going nowhere.
Zerb.
Zerb, okay. Bring Zerb with him. All right. Hell yeah. Tell me about some good pizza you smoked lately.
Oh man, what was that last one you gave me? The biscotti.
Biscoff.
Biscoff, yeah.
Shout out my partner Exotics 916, man. That
shit
Biscoff
was-
hitting, man.
So that and then
Peanut butter biscotti. Yeah, peanut butter breath times biscotti.
that one was fire. And then what was the other one? Bay Bridge.
Bay Bridge.
That
Yeah.
one was good too.
Yeah, that's another one by Exotics. Yeah.
That one, they were
Wedding
both
cake
heavy.
times sherbet.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's probably why I liked it.
Wedding cake times sherbet. I think so. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, tell me about some actual good pizza that you had, like, that you eat. You know what I'm saying? Recently. Where can I get it at?
Because like,
Shout out your favorite
so
spot.
the thing is I live up in the mountains, so
Okay.
like
Well,
I wouldn't.
I know nothing's going on. Up there.
Yeah, so
I've been
like
through them hills.
the last good pizza that like honestly that I ate was the one over in Grass Valley, Pete's Pizza. You know, and it's relatively good to most of the pizza that I've had here in Sacramento, but you know,
Pete's Pizza.
yeah, Pete's Pizza in downtown Grass Valley.
Okay.
But I mean, it's not like I have options out there too.
Yeah.
There's like 6 different pizzerias.
Okay.
But that was the last good one that I ate. Like I could say that I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know, and I always go there for pizza, like if I'm craving pizza. But man,
I'm about to try it out. I never went there before.
It's the first time I met Russ was in that place.
Oh no shit! Shout out to Russ. We fuck around and get Russ on the show, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab my Grass Valley boys. Yeah, man. What's the most good pizza you ever gifted somebody, and why?
What's the most good pizza that I've ever gifted someone? Probably a pound, and because they needed bread.
Okay, that's some stand up shit. Bro.
Yeah. That
like
was
it.
that
I
was
like it.
probably the most I've ever given away.
That's what's up, man.
But it was like the homies, you know, you're trying to, you know, help them out, you know.
Don't ask for that in DMs today.
Yeah, don't be trying to hit up. This is a glorified middleman. That was back in the day, and the homie was fucked up. You know what I'm saying? So don't do it. We all all the homies is good right now. So we see you. Don't come creeping. What kind of music you into, man? Let's talk about some
Oh
music.
man.
What you
So
fucking with?
lately, I mean, I've been listening to like trap. Like when I say trap, it's like the electro trap, you know, the
Okay.
drum and bass with like
Yeah.
the hip hop.
Yeah.
And I don't really listen to music, and the only time I listen to music is when I'm working out. But like,
Okay.
if I'm driving, I'm usually
Oh,
listening to a
we
pod-
driving, we growing. We
yeah.
got the mobile university.
Exactly. So
right.
it's either audiobooks or
Yep.
podcasts,
Same.
or like
Same.
YouTube videos
Yeah.
about stocks,
That's growth.
crypto.
That's how you know which
yeah.
season of life you in. You know what I'm
So
saying? That's beautiful.
yeah,
Hell yeah.
And that's, I mean, but as far as music goes, it would be hip hop and probably some electro trap.
Mm-hmm.
Shit that gets me going, you know, like if I'm running on the
Right.
treadmill.
I've been doing that when I run. I fuck with drums and bass.
Like they have this
Just recently.
it's like tribal bass music, and I listen to that when I'm lifting, you know, because then
Okay.
I feel like a beast. And then,
Right.
But then when it comes to running, it's like more beats per second or per minute, you know. So like it has like a cadence that goes really really fast. So
Yeah,
then when
yeah.
I'm running, it makes me just want to crank up the treadmill to like level 10 and just sprint for
Just
like
go crazy like
Yeah.
fucking. What's that app? Cave Runner or some shit.
Anytime I'm working out, I always feel like, because you know, in the
Yeah,
military,
you want to get crazy, man.
like in the military, they always instilled that, you know, warrior mindset. So
Yeah.
every time I'm dying in the gym, Like I have those David Goggin talks. In my
yeah,
head.
bro, I've thought
like you're a
David
little
Goggins are
bitch.
gonna
Like
fucking
you
crazy.
really don't want to finish this workout. Fucking bitch, you're soft. Like I literally
I
like.
listened to David Goggins' "You Can't Hurt Me" audiobook while he's in Bud's training for 3 fucking times. He went through Bud's training 3 times.
I think Wyatt Craig just did.
He did the
Wyatt
run
Craig
with.
did. I
Yeah,
ran
he
with him.
did.
I ran with him, with Goggins. Yeah, we ran with Goggins last weekend, bro. It was ill. It was ill. But like, I'm not gonna take no credit for it. I ran 4 miles. I did 1 leg with Goggins. I wanted to be in the presence of greatness. Never ran 4 miles in my life at once, but it was dope. But Wyatt, shout out to Wyatt. He ran for 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. Damn. And he did it. He fucking did it, man. Shout out to you, Wyatt. That was dope. That was dope as fuck. If your brand was a band, what would it be?
If my brand was a band,
You could pick a couple. I'm
It would
Wu-Tang's,
probably-
Frank Sinatra, and
it'd probably be like let's see,
and Metallica. That would be me.
Nirvana.
Okay. I could throw a Nirvana in mine. Hell yeah.
Sublime.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. High Vibration Sublime. I can see
And
that.
then there would be. Did you say a band only, or could it be an artist?
Band only player.
Oh damn. Okay.
But I'll let you slide. What's the artist?
Big Sean.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. I didn't mean you meant solo, but yeah, they do. Got it.
Yeah.
Big Sean. All right. Shout out your favorite plug from back in the day, Jamie. Before we do that, Jamie, go. I feel like you was about to say something.
Oh no, you good?
Okay, you was leaning in. Favorite plug from back in the day.
Like someone I know personally?
Yeah, your plug.
Oh, my plug?
Your favorite plug from back in the day.
Filthy Phil.
Filthy Phil. I'm about to get Phil on the show, man. I don't know how Phil feels about cameras, but your name came up a lot of times, player.
He was my source for everything since day one, bro.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, when I was in trouble too and I needed help, or like if I was short on cash, you know, he'd be like, "I'll help you out. Like, you live down in LA, here's a 30 pack. Like, just pay me when you flip
That's
it."
solid as fuck.
You know, like he always had my back. Like, and you know, and we always talk about like some of the homies we don't even talk to anymore back in the day. Not that we don't like them, but there's
Right.
nothing relatable anymore. And
There's growth, bro.
and I saw, you know, Snoop Dogg talking about it, and it's a perfect example. Like, it's about closing the gap, right?
That's right. Somebody got to do it.
And you're never gonna go lower to back then to
can't.
where your homies are in order to close that gap. So they have to catch up to
You gotta
you.
grow together.
And the thing is like I've seen that like personally, and the one who closed the gap with me, bro, like was Phil. Like he was right here and I was right there, and he would help me out to close that gap. And then, you know, there was a time like back in 2018, 19, when he was going through a rough patch. You remember that?
Yeah.
Like he was going
do.
through a fucking rough patch 2019, 18. And like, and I tried to instill knowledge in him as far as like, who was it? Joe Dispenza. Like, watch Joe Dispenza, watch these podcasts. Like, and he started implementing that. He started embodying it, right?
Bro, I walked in his crib and it was playing and his kids was listening to it. The
Yeah.
whole crib, it was on full blast, getting
No, for
everybody's
sure.
minds right.
And he literally,
He really did it, bro.
He closed that gap.
He did the work,
like
man.
he fucking
did the inner work.
And
You
the
know
thing
what I'm saying?
is I remember a lot of shit from back in the day, and I remember who helped me out and who didn't help me out.
That's
who
right.
fucking
Don't we
drained me.
always? Don't we always?
Exactly. Who drained me, who emptied out my pockets, and like, and whether they did it consciously or unconsciously, right? And
Yeah,
when
some
and when
people don't even
they
realize
don't
they're
even
doing it
know
to
they're
you.
fucking you over, and they feel justified. But then that all goes back to childhood and the traumas that they've went through in order to
Yeah.
like, you know, become this person that they are,
And
to
how
have
they
it.
made their principles and
Exactly.
their belief, you know.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, for
so
sure.
like, but no matter what mind state Phil was at or whatnot, he fucking helped me, bro. Like, that's a big bro right there. Like,
Yeah, that's dope.
he helped me.
Good empathy to like even be able to have that empathy, like to
Yeah.
see it's that, and
Yeah.
not necessarily
Yeah.
be still scorned by whatever the fallout or
Exactly.
whatever. I just see,
Yeah.
he's this type, and I have the same type. But it's an empathy that not a lot of people have, and people are striving to get towards.
Yeah.
To be able to look at situations like the way
That's
you're
right.
speaking
Yeah.
about him. Like, yeah, I could see his human nature brought him to that. Most people don't get to that level where they
Facts,
look at that.
bro.
They
Yeah.
just be caught up in what you did
And their own
to me,
bullshit.
or
Yeah.
how you
And the
lost me
victim
money.
mentality.
No.
That's right.
Well, that's the thing is like I can't have a victim mentality because I have full control of my own destiny.
right.
It doesn't rely on
That's a
other
fact.
people.
That's a fact.
We have the choice to cut people off. We have the choice to make friends with new people. We have choices to take or miss an opportunity, right?
That's right.
So it's
Talk
not,
to 'em.
you know, no,
Talk to him, bro.
no one's holding a gun to my head forcing me to do something, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
So-
20
for real.
years ago, my life changed.
Right, we're actually
I'm
all
never
different
gonna
people.
Blame another man for what happens to me.
That's right.
ever.
Can't.
I put myself in. There's a mistake I made to cause this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have to be accountable for
That's
that
right.
because I'm the only one sitting in
Yeah.
whatever I'm sitting in. He's
That's
sleeping
right.
fine. I'm
Yeah.
just
That's
sitting
right.
in my situation.
Right.
Exactly.
So and my life changed that day. Like,
Yeah, when you-
just full accountability. Like, okay, I
Yep.
shouldn't have gave it to him, and I knew it before I did it. There's something I should have known
Yeah.
before I
Yeah.
did it that made me lose that.
And
that's a big
it
day
as a
caused
man.
me to get over the anger at some point in time.
Yep.
Faster than most people would, where I could take my own accountability.
Right.
I still may not rock with you ever again and know
Yeah.
your tendencies now. I
Yeah.
still take that into account.
Absolutely.
Yep.
The hate I have or the disdain I may
You don't
have
need
for
it.
you, I
Right.
don't carry that.
And
Yeah.
and the thing is I look at it from both too, right? To go to that, it's like, what kind of person was I back then to let that happen? And when I look within myself, it's like, oh, I actually gave a fuck what other people thought of me. And the
Yeah,
thing was like,
that's a
even
bad place to be, man.
yeah. And the thing is if I don't break him off with, like, I call him quote unquote partner, but they're not holding up their end of the partnership, or they're fucking not pulling their weight. Like, I gave too much of a fuck of how they thought of me, or like to
Yeah.
even go through that confrontation with what I would call a really good friend, someone
Yeah.
like family, right? So like no one really, like, that's why, you know, like I don't hold it against them that they have this entitlement issue. And the thing is, the moment that I let go of that and I focused on my own life, and that's what I had to do. I had to fucking go MIA and separate myself, even though, you know, I didn't have to move to a new state
yeah, for sure.
like you did, but like,
Yeah.
you know, I found what I wanted to do in life, and I didn't care about what other people thought. And then on top of that, like, I found love. That's when Cindy came into my life. The moment she came into my life, I cut everyone off, bro.
Yeah.
Like, not because, like, she never told me to or whatnot, but I saw the fucking, how toxic relationships are with certain friends. Like, and even though that they may genuinely love you, or they want to look out for you, like, some of their own past traumas as a child holds them back from realizing it, or gives them a certain mindset, you know? So that's what I see. And the thing is I've done the work. I've done the inner work to like figure out myself and
For
like,
sure.
okay, what makes me tick? Why do I have this type of thought process? Or why do I I question everything. Why do I feel entitled to this? Why do I feel timid about this? Like, I fucking question everything.
You have a conscious awareness of your thoughts, you know what I'm saying? You're able to take yourself out and look in, and that comes with growth. And then to your point, that's a special day in a man's life, when you take 100% accountability. Like, I make all the lefts, I made all the rights, I'm the reason I'm here right now, so where the fuck do we go from here?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's a big day in a man's life. You got any cool truck stop stories?
Truck stop story? Damn, truck stop stories. Fuck, no.
If you don't, it's okay. I know you wasn't ready.
Yeah, no,
Wasn't ready.
like literally a truck stop? I don't
Yeah.
even think I've
Well,
ever...
I lived next to a truck stop damn near my whole life for, I don't know, just coincidentally, and a lot of shit goes down at truck stops. A lot of weird shit, you know what I'm
I can
saying?
only imagine.
Yeah.
I don't have any
I've
cool...
never been involved, I've just been a spectator.
When you said that, I like thought of all the movies I've seen with truck stops. I'm like, I don't have any of those kind of stories.
All good, bro. All good, man. Yeah. So we got some rapid fire questions coming at you real quick, bro. So these are just one word answers, or just keep it short and sweet.
Okay.
Do you like to smoke in the hot or the cold?
Neither.
Neither. Oh, he's a perfect spring weather kind of day kind of guy. Light breeze. All right. That's a good answer. I like it. Neither is acceptable. BHO or rosin?
Rosin.
Of course. LED or HPS?
HPS.
Okay, living soil or cocoa?
Living soil.
Sativa or indica?
Indica.
215 or 64?
215.
Fuck yeah, for life. Football or baseball?
Football.
Bike?
Football americano?
Either or.
Okay. Football.
Americano?
Yeah.
Okay, está bien. Bike or skateboard?
Bike.
NY or LA?
NY.
Ooh, we took it to the east. Pizza or tacos? This might.
Tacos.
Oh man. Oh, good. Oh, that's good pizza. Ain't this a bitch? Couldn't even front for the camera. I respect your honesty. I respect your honesty.
You said rapid fire.
No, hey. Keep it real, man. He's an honest guy. Runts Gelato Terps or OG Gas Terps?
Runs Gelato Terps.
All right. I like it. So a couple episodes ago, we talked about Plug Day.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna touch on this again, man. I feel like we need one. We got Valentine's Day, we got Steak and Blowjob Day, we got Easter, we got, you know what I'm saying,
What's
Christmas.
Steak and Blowjob Day?
It's April 14th. So you got May 14th or March 14th is Valentine's Day.
February 14th
April,
is.
February.
Yeah.
So it would be March 14th.
Okay.
Steak and Blowjob Day, ladies. Needs no explanation. Goddamn right. You want to keep your man forever, there's the cheat code. So back to Plug Day. We need a Plug Day. And then like when we was growing up, there was just like the main holidays, right? But like as we got older and there's social media, there's a fucking day for everything. Like Sunday was the other day, Daughter Day was the other day. I can't keep up with this shit, man. You know what I'm saying? But there's no Plug Day. So
No.
I think there should be a Plug Day where you get your plug a bag or something, or throw them a couple of hours, or fucking shoot them a text, something. Thank you, man.
You know, I was gonna say a thank you card or a text.
So look, I made it. It's June 16th.
June 16th.
Yes,
That's your birthday.
That's my birthday. I mean,
Okay.
why not? And I'm a plug, so hook me up.
Yes, absolutely.
So anyway, Plug Day.
Yeah.
Plug Day.
I didn't want that conversation. I just wanted to plug it.
Just want to plug it. We might talk about that every episode until y'all get it. I might go down in history for that too, folks.
Yeah.
So
I'll
just
put it
throwing
on
that
my
out there.
calendar.
Please do.
Well, I already know it because it's your birthday, but
Tupac, your boy Peasy, and Plug Day. We're gonna celebrate all three of those the same day. So we're gonna talk about networking on organic relationships.
Yeah.
I always love to share the power of networking and connections. You know, if networking is properly done, you can get to anybody, position yourself to organically meet anybody.
Oh, yeah.
You know, obviously it's up to you to take it from there. But you know, I like to just share with the people, like, you know, how did we meet? What do we have to do to build a relationship with each other? And lastly, who do you know that I should know? Because that's a powerful question that you ask people.
yes.
You know what I'm saying? My mentor, John Maxwell, taught me that. Look, if you don't know who John Maxwell is, he's one of the illest leadership mentors, writers, New York Times bestseller. Look him up. He told me that was the most powerful question you can ask somebody.
Yeah. Okay. So going back to the first part.
How did we meet?
Well,
We touched on it.
so it goes back to like that belief, right? Have you heard of the more I do, the luckier I get?
Yes,
Right?
for sure.
So I think once you put the intention out there and you're following your own path and you do what you can 100% of the time to achieve the vision that you have, that the universe are going to put the right things and the right people in your path.
That's
right?
a fact, bro.
So
Law of
exactly.
attraction. Yes, sir.
So, you know, I started higher vibrations then, and I'm just like, I just have to go. I have to keep going, you know, and that's when I met you at Collective Branding, you know, and I was working for Delta 9 at the time, doing, you know, sales for dispensaries and whatnot. And I bumped into you, and it was funny because I don't think I would have bumped into you had Byron taken his sweet ass time conversing with other customers while I'm just trying to pick up my labels.
Right.
Right? So that day I was fucking frustrated. I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to get the fuck out of here. You're conversing, like my labels are right there. Can you just like give it to me?
Yeah.
You know, well, I was saying this in my head. I didn't really say it. I just had a pissed off look in my face, and I just, you know, was being passive aggressive, just like standing there with my hands crossed, like, you gonna help me? Yeah. You know? I'm like, dude, is this guy ever gonna fucking get me out of here? Like, I live in San Jose. I'm just trying to jet, you know?
Right.
And luckily he did keep me there for a long time because you walked
Here
in.
come Peasy.
Yeah. And I forget who was with you during that
My
time.
man David, who I worked with at 4GPM.
Oh, okay.
We were there to talk about possibly doing a printing collab, and you were at the counter, and I talked to everybody I see.
Yeah.
And I noticed, like, at that place, like, you always meet somebody there
Mm-hmm.
in the shit. And I was like, yo, what's up, bro? What's up? What you here for, bro? What do you do? And he said, oh, I started a distro. I'm like, word, I got a delivery service. That's what's up. and just to show you where I'm at in my life at the time, I'm like, I'm trying to figure out the fuck to do with my delivery service because they just passed Prop 64. We got till fucking January 9th of 2019 to shut it down. So I'm trying to do something with my business. I didn't know what. So I knew, like, okay, let me link up with this fella and see if we can make something happen.
Yeah.
Got exchange contacts, and we had to keep in touch.
Yeah.
We played phone tag for a
And
while.
it's funny because I've told you this plenty of times. Like, I have a lot of people hitting me up and new people that hit me up who I've just met. Like, I make the decision if I like want to give them the time of day or not. And you see me, like, I screen a lot of my fucking calls.
Yeah, sure. You
Like,
have
I'm
to.
like, damn, I don't want to give my energy and time to this person because what he has is something I don't need. And I always think that way. Like, I can't, my time is very valuable.
Sure, it is.
So, like, what is it can I get from this person? And not like in a selfish way, but like in a way that's more productive for the bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
And something told me to pick up for you. Like, you called me, I'm like, oh, he's calling. Let's see what he wants.
Yeah.
I never had any type of hesitation, and that's usually a gut. Like, I trust my gut.
Yeah.
And when that gut feeling's like, oh, you should pick up for this guy, like he's whatever it is, it's gonna make a difference.
We're vibrating on the same frequency.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
I did not I didn't miss a call from you. I always picked up for
Yeah,
you,
you
even
did.
though we just met that
I
day
respected
also.
that too.
And there was just like we just clicked, bro. Like, even though you were from the East Coast and I was from here, there was just something that told me that we had to connect.
And we was both like hustling ass
yeah.
motherfuckers. Like, we get the fuck after it. You know what I'm saying?
for
So
sure.
we definitely connected on that level.
Yeah, I remember you
sure.
telling me, you're like, you give off a vibe like you shake and bake like some of these other cats in California. You remind me of someone who would hustle in Jersey.
Yeah, for
And
real.
it's funny because like I'm like, well, that might be true about Sac, but I'm from the Bay, so it's a different story there.
Yeah, man, that was dope, bro.
Wow.
That was hella dope. So shit, man. As we close it out, man, how can we help you on the mission? You know what I'm saying? Tell us what some.
Who do he know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Who do you know that I
Yeah.
should know?
So
Thank you.
yeah, going back to that. So that weed's strong.
Kicking my ass.
It's one of my homies.
Fighting through this joint.
He lives in LA now. Joseph Corzo.
Okay.
He's Jabron's first cousin. You met Jabron.
Okay.
Right? But we both believed in spirituality. He's from Richmond, over in the Bay also.
Okay.
And we both had, the same type of mindset, and we learned a lot from each other, right? And when I first got into spirituality and manifesting and whatnot, he was there to teach me all about it.
Oh, he showed you the way into personal development?
And I was already interested in it, yes,
Okay.
he did. And he gave me a book, the mandala, the awareness of you. And there were some things that made sense to me because he was in a financial situation where he had to make money, right? And for me, like, I always knew my own patterns. And I'm like, I can make money. My thing is managing money, right?
Yeah.
So he was like, man, it's about money, but like, you have to program yourself. You like with, instead of saying, I don't want to be like my father, say, I want to be this kind of father. Because when you say,
Right.
I don't want to be like my father, you're reinforcing that negativity in your head and your subconscious.
Sure.
And the thing is, we operate 80% off of our subconscious.
Yeah.
We don't operate
Yeah.
from our conscious
That's a fact.
self. And a
guess
lot of
what?
that has
You're
to do.
always listening.
Yeah, exactly.
So watch what you say.
Exactly. So he taught me that, right?
That's dope.
And
That's
like
powerful.
I got the whole I was still trying to understand the concept. I didn't fully like understand it to like, what's the difference, Like I still, I get what you're saying, but I don't embody it because I'm
Right.
still new to spirituality.
Sure.
And he talked to me about finances and like, man, I'm just trying to make it. If I could make money. And when he said if I could make money, I laughed. I was like, making money is easy, but managing it is a different story. He's like, that's it. Did you hear what you just said? And I was like, what? He's like, you reinforce that making money is easy. So for you, throughout your life, money has been easy to make, but for you, the problem is managing the money, not making the money. So once he made that clear to me, like I started setting alarms on my phone, 222, stick to your purpose, 555, change is coming on the way. And then even 1010, I set an alarm that says always stay moving, always be progressing, and always be growing, on my alarm.
That's good.
So my alarm would go off, I'd be like, what is this? And then it would have a message for me. So that's my way of programming.
You program yourself.
Exactly.
Fire.
So when he taught me that concept, I started doing all these things, creating healthier habits and whatnot. And I'm like, dude, this shit's fucking
I definitely
powerful.
want to meet him, man. I feel like we would have a dope conversation.
Yeah. He's an actor now in LA.
That's what's up.
And that's funny because, not funny, but we always hustled. When I go down to LA to deal with some clients still, like, I'd be like, yo, bro, let's kick it for a little bit. And I'm always, no offense to him or anything, but I'm always thinking of like how I knew him back then, not how I know or like who he is now. And I don't know if it goes the same way, but he'd be like, bro, I got like a 20-minute window, then I have an audition here, then I got to go to another audition. I'm like, damn, this guy's fucking grinding in the fucking Hollywood scene. Like,
yeah.
And now he's got a show, NCIS or something. It's not his show, but he's an actor in it.
That's cool, man.
So like,
shout out to him.
Yeah, so it goes to show you like everything that he taught me, he had to teach himself, and he embodied that. And the same way, I embodied these teachings about spirituality. And it's like, a lot of people think of, the hippie version of it, but really it's just being more in tune with yourself and your surroundings and giving back and knowing that everything is energy.
Yeah.
The way, like, money's energy, your action is energy, like, and it all stems from a thought and an emotion, right? So it's really just understanding all of that and not being attached to any idea or any concept, but being able to connect with everything. I don't know if that makes sense, but
it does. And I want to meet your boy. Yeah. What's his name?
Joseph Corzo.
Joseph. All right. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, man. How can we help the mission, bro? How can we help how can people help the brand? Where can we find you?
Well, honestly, it's just, for me, the brand is just the message, right? And the message is to really make an impact in the greater good. So to help me is just really be the change that you want to see, And that's a good way of really supporting the brand, because I don't start this brand, like, it's nice to have the recognition and everything, but the recognition is meaningless without a message to it.
Right.
Okay. So that's my message.
Okay. That's what's up, man. Well, shit. Thank you for coming, bro.
Yeah, of course.
That was dope.
I'm happy to be
dope
here.
Experience,
yeah,
man. Appreciate you. And all right, my Cugines, thanks for tuning in. Hope y'all got some good game out of here. I think we covered some good grounds. Until next time, share some good pizza with a friend. Peace, love, and good pizza. We see y'all later. We up out of here.